UK housing market in freefall. Experts reveal the real reason. Experts say this isn't a normal dip. It's the start of a housing collapse that could reshape Britain for years. Welcome to UK Property Authority, the channel where UK real estate meets real news. Every week, we expose the market's biggest shifts from housing prices to mortgage shocks, so you can make smarter moves. Let's get straight into today's update. To understand what's happening, we have to look back to the pandemic boom. Between 2020 and 2022, the Bank of England lowered interest rates to historic levels. Cheap mortgages fueled a buying frenzy. People rushed to upgrade, relocate, or buy their very first home. Remote work pushed many out of cities toward suburban and rural areas. Supply couldn't keep up with demand, and prices skyrocketed. Sellers became confident, some even greedy, and bidding wars became normal. But the same factor that created the boom, interest rates, also planted the seeds of collapse. As inflation roared across the UK, the Bank of England responded with aggressive rate hikes. Mortgage rates that were once under 2% shot up to 5%, 6%, and in some cases even higher. The increase was brutal for borrowers. A household that could once afford a £300,000 mortgage suddenly found itself unable to secure the same loan. Monthly payments doubled and lenders tightened their conditions. Overnight, a huge portion of the buyer pool vanished. Fewer buyers meant less competition, and sellers could no longer demand outrageous prices. The market began to slow, but that was only the beginning. Next came affordability pressure. Energy bills, groceries, transport, everything cost more. Even people who managed to qualify for a mortgage found they had little left to pay for it. The cost of living crisis squeezed households until many simply gave up on the idea of buying. Some homeowners who stretched themselves thin during the pandemic started to panic. They began listing properties at lower prices just to get out. Developers slowed new builds because no one was buying. Estate agents who once boasted about record profits suddenly reported empty phones and silent showrooms. And then came the psychological shift. After years of hearing property always goes up, the public began to question that belief. News outlets started publishing stories about falling prices, failed sales, and homes sitting on the market for months. Buyers waited, hoping to get a better deal later. Investors paused, concerned that their returns would shrink. International buyers, once a dominant force in London, retreated as the pound weakened and global uncertainty increased. Whenever confidence disappears from a market, prices follow, and the UK housing sector is no exception. But there is another factor that experts say many people overlook: demographics. For decades, the housing narrative was driven by a young growing workforce, eager to buy homes. Today, the population structure is shifting. More people are reaching retirement age, and many homeowners are downsizing or cashing out. Younger generations, on the other hand, are facing the worst affordability crisis in modern UK history. Their wages have not kept pace with inflation or property costs. The gap between what people can earn and what homes are priced at has become unsustainable. When fewer young buyers exist, the entire foundation of the market weakens, and then comes the rental crisis. As mortgage costs climbed, landlords raised rents. The rental market exploded, especially in London, Manchester, Birmingham, and Bristol. Tenants, already struggling, began to pay more than half their income just to live. First-time buyers saw no pathway to ownership because saving a deposit became nearly impossible. The government introduced policies such as rent caps, tax changes, and restrictions on multiple property ownership. Some landlords chose to sell rather than continue absorbing higher costs. But they weren't selling from a position of strength. They were selling because they had no choice. Forced sellers never get top prices, and forced selling accelerates price drops. International politics also played a role. Uncertainty around Brexit, trade agreements, and foreign investment reshaped the dynamics of the market. For decades, London was the safe haven for global capital. Oligarchs, corporations, and foreign investors parked billions in UK property. But sanctions, regulations, and a shifting geopolitical environment sent many of those investors elsewhere. London's luxury sector, once immune to downturns, suddenly felt the chill. And when the top of the market slows, it trickles down. Buyers who would have purchased £1 million homes instead look at £700,000 properties, and the squeeze moves down the ladder all the way to entry-level buyers. One of the most dramatic causes behind the crash, however, is mortgage expiry. Hundreds of thousands of homeowners who locked in ultra-low pandemic rates are now being forced to remortgage at 2 or 3 times their original payments. Despite all this, not everyone sees doom. Some analysts argue that lower prices are a natural correction. After a decade of steep increases, affordability had reached a breaking point. A temporary fall might restore balance and allow first-time buyers to re-enter the market. They point to similar cycles in the past: booms followed by declines, then eventual recovery. But even optimistic experts agree on one thing: recovery will be slow, painful, and unpredictable. So where does this leave homeowners and buyers today? The answer depends on timing and mindset. If you bought at the peak, you may feel trapped. If you're renting, you may feel exhausted. If you're an investor, you may be waiting for the bottom. What everyone must understand is that this is not just another dip. The UK housing market is going through a deep structural shift. Interest rates, demographics, wages, global finance, and social attitudes have combined to create a new reality. The market we knew in 2015 or 2020 no longer exists. Thanks for watching UK Property Authority. If the video helped you, hit like and comment your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a major UK property update. See you in the next one, your authority on the UK real estate market. You said.